Hi there, and welcome back to the channel. So I'm way back here behind the drums. I've already worked up a sweat. I'm pretty exhausted, but I've been in here for like, I don't know, 5 days or something. And the first 3 days, or the first 2 days, 2 or 3 days were practice. And then I tried to, get a take running the camera, for YouTube. And that was 2 days that I tried to do that. This is the third day. I finally got a take that I'm happy with, all the way through. Not just I got through it, but a take that's pretty good, because I had a really good take, and then I looked down and realized I hadn't armed the tracks. So that was annoying. But then, not long after that, I got a really good one. So I'm going to try to better it. I usually try to get 3 takes and pick the best one. That's what we used to always do with our friend Jeff Tomei. Jeff Tomei was the co-engineer on Siamese Dream. And he didn't get credit. And so was John Nielsen. He was also on that record. And John was, John's rest in peace, but his brother, or his cousin, Tim, was in Driving and Crying. Super nice guy. We always liked him. We played with them a few times, and he was just a very supportive, nice guy. And his cousin was the co-engineer on our record. Jeff was the engineer. And Jeff was the co-engineer on Siamese Dream with Butch Vig, but they kind of got forgotten. Like there was a big tape-op write-up about them, and they weren't mentioned. That's typical. The bigger name people are going to sort of take over the project. But he did engineer that record, or at least co-engineered it with Butch. No, he engineered it, and Butch Vig produced it. But anyway, I don't know why I went off on that tangent. But I'm in here trying to get my take, trying to get my magic to happen. And what I've got, if you've never seen me do drums, or if you've never recorded drums and you want to record them, this is the Recorder Man setup where you have 2 microphones. I've got a ribbon mic here and a ribbon mic here. And I take the 2 drumsticks that I'm playing and put them on the snare drum, and they're just like about a ½ inch away from the mic capsule face. And then I move here and make sure I got the same thing going here, and I do. And this one's pointed straight down at the snare, and this one's pointed towards the bass drum, and this kind of side of the kick, this sort of gets this side of the kit, this sort of gets that side of the kit. Then I've got the microphone out a bit, away from the bass drum. Learned that from Steve Albini. Got a large diaphragm condenser with a minus 20 dB attenuator on it, so I dropped minus 20 dB, and I've got it 3 inches from the edge of the snare, and I measure that with this stick here, and I'm about 3 inches from the edge. I also got that from Steve Albini, and yeah, the main thing that gets the Steve Albini drum tone I determined after seeing him set up his mics and just thinking it through and asking him actually what he thought the main difference was. And I think it's boundary mics. After what I could get from him, was that he put boundary mics, like 3 of them, out in front of this on the kit on the floor. So there'd be like one here, one over here. Not to mention several overheads, and every mic was every drum, which is only a 4-piece. It was bass, down, up, one down, and then the snare. So 1 up, 2 down, I guess, as opposed to like this, the 2 up, 2 down. So it'd be top and bottom mic'd, bass drum, back and front mic'd. But I think it's the boundary mics that gave it that little air, that click, because he would delay them by like a few microseconds. And like if you listen to the stick clicks on Serve the Servants, or any of the drums on Surfer Rosa, that little extra sound, it's like almost like a delay. And it's those boundary mics. I think that's the secret. Not only that, is that he just cut everything super hot, and then he didn't try to pull it back to a polite level. He just kept everything up, which is way more rock and roll than the corporate way of making everything sound muted for radio, so you can compress the entire track. Okay, so I've got 4 microphones plugged in. Like I said, we've got this 4 mic setup. It's really easy to do. You also look up the Glenn Johns mic setup. I've got a couple videos on this channel on how to do it, but there's professionals that can show you and give you the geometry and all that, the physics of it. because it's like measurements, making sure that things don't get out of phase. And also to capture the kit a certain way, because I've tried it in other ways where it wouldn't go out of phase and it didn't capture the kit in a holistic way, you know. All right, so we've got the 4 microphones in. The first microphone is hot because it's plugged into a Rane MS1B, which is giving it more, you know, millivolts of power. And so that one, I've got it all the way down to 20 on the strip. And the gain is completely off and the high Z is off. The next one I've got at 12 o'clock, the next one I've got the gain at like 1 o'clock, and the bass drum I've got the gain at like 2 o'clock. So this one's at like 12 o'clock, this one's at 1 o'clock. This is always the weakest mic. I guess it's the furthest away from the action. It's not right above a snare drum, and it's picking up the bass drum and this side of the kit. So it's always the lowest volume as far as the tracks go when you go look at the tracks. The bass drum is always super deep. That's why I like to take it out a bit, just to get some of that boundary effect, you know. And then, so my gain is all pretty much at noon, except I got the bass drum tilted more till like 2 o'clock. I've got the channel strips that are engaged. All of those are at 100. And you can go to Pan EQ and make your way all the way over to the master and just check to make sure. I'm double checking mine after I've already recorded to make, ooh, I had it at 105 for some bizarre reason. Oh well, I'm going to just leave it there. Maybe I'll just record this next one at 100. Ooh, I had a weird feeling that might have happened because it was peaking. Alright, well, my track is good, I know that. So I'm going to re-record, I'm going to record another take right here on camera and see if I can better it. And then it'll be at the proper levels. Let me just check now to make sure my levels are good. Yeah, so I actually brought the levels up on these two mics a little bit after I dropped it back to 100 dB. That was a kind of a screw up. Alright, so no effects. I got the 4 microphones. I'm also, on this one, I'm going left about 40 and right on this one 40. Just like a stereo split. Just to give it. And you can also do that in post, and you can start spreading it out, but I'm just going to record it that way because that's the way it's supposed to be done. Especially if you're on tape and you were going to print that way and that was it, you know? Alright, so let's see how getting through a take is. I've got my guide track, I've got a little click, and it goes, where I sing a, well, and then there's a click to let me know. So that's my cue. And I'm off to the races. Alright, except that I'm not. I'm going to be off to tempo. Don't want to go off to the races and increase tempo and then hear it slow down and increase back up. Try to stay focused, relaxed, not get speedy, you know, in parts where it's exciting. That's the main thing, is to avoid getting excited and then cranking up the tempo. That up already. Luckily I have a take. But you have to make sure when you do this, I've got a take sitting there, right? So anything I record, I have to make sure to undo it if I don't want to keep it. Otherwise that would, you know, kill my take. So you got to be kind of, you know, you got to be aware while you're doing this. You don't want to screw up and start a take and forget to hit undo first. Then you would have ruined your take that it's sitting there. All right, here we go. Sorry, this headphone cable got, so now I'm going to make sure to undo that so it's not killing my take that's actually worth keeping. Although I am disturbed that I had the master up at 105. Okay, I think that one was better. I don't know for sure. I'm going to check it, so I'm not going to undo that, and I'm not going to save it. I'm going to I'm going to disarm the tracks and go to green. Sorry, I'm tired. And I'm going to play back each track, compare, contrast, decide which one. I'll be right back, and I'll let you know. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm done. I don't think I've got another take in me. And I think between these two, I've got a pretty good one. I think this one was pretty good. Let me just determine that, and I'll be right back. All right, hold on a second. Okay, after I did the take, I went and listened to the first one that I listened to the latest one I did, and I liked it pretty well, except that I hit this cymbal a little, like instead of, I hit it more like instead of I wanted more of like a gong, like a koosh, and it was more like spink. And so I wanted to do that one over. And then I decided that the first take was better than the one that I didn't do on camera. And then when I listened to that one, everything was fine, except that it had a peak, one moment where it peaked. Just, like 2 times, red light popped up. And I was like, oh man. So I quickly did 2 more takes off camera just while I was sitting here. I just didn't even have the energy to walk over there and turn that on again. So I just quickly laid down 2 takes, and the second one of the 2 takes was the best one. And so I wanted to warn you, to make sure that you've got these levels right, and that you kind of err on the side of caution with this machine, because there's really, there's no acceptable level of digital distortion. It just doesn't work. And you're recording, I'm sure somebody can get it out or whatever, like with some kind of trick with a program or whatever, but it's better just to not record things that, aren't correct. And, like I said, digital distortion, it's horrible. So I redid it, and I think that I have the better take now. And what I'm going to do now is, it'll be a lot more fun tomorrow just to show up, or the next day I might take a day off and come back and listen to the tracks, put them in Audacity, boost them. I know I'm going to have to boost them a little because I was careful with these levels. Like I said, I did all this kind of like, hold on, this kind of stuff was causing the levels to go up. The moments where I go like, little moments, where there's excitement, like, can get into like that excitement level, a little bit too much cymbal or whatever, and too much bass drum, and you get the peak light. So to avoid the peak light, just really take your time setting up. There's no rush, because that peak light is real, and it will ruin a take. Alright, so hopefully everybody's doing okay. I'm just happy to get this drum take down because I'm excited about this song. I feel like this song has improved greatly. And I wanted to re-record it, but after the experience I had of re-recording another tune, I was like, it's a waste of time. But now that the song is completely different, and it sounds like the old version sounds like a bit of a ramshackle mess, and now that I've got a new melody and the song has new life, now the drum take is going to match that. This is a much better drum take, sounds way better, tempo's better. On the original song, my tempo was off on several spots, and this one is much more steady. There's less fluctuation. In fact, I watched it the whole way through with the metronome. It stayed on beat the whole way. I didn't see any moment where it like went off to where you could notice it. Or at least I can't notice it. Somebody else would probably be able to notice, somebody that's a better drummer and all that kind of thing. But I think it's okay. And a big improvement over the original. That's the whole point. And the song is better too, so that's really where it's at. And drums and all that kind of stuff don't matter as much as the actual material. Alright, so hopefully everyone's doing great out there. If not, and you're having trouble with your machine, or you just need help, get in touch. I like to help people, especially with the Zoom, because I know how hard it can be when you're trying to, do your thing, and you can't get off the ground. And you know that the machine will make good recordings because you've heard some, but you just can't get there. So don't hesitate to reach out and I'll do what I can. All right, next time.